So
So we're here, you're here, or you're not here. Who knows? Maybe you're listening to this after the fact, which makes a lot more sense because we kind of surprise decided to cast.
it's a lot like is it like flash mobs, like flash podcasting kind of thing, like
That would be hilarious.
just all of a sudden, just like it's a podcast.
To be fair, that is kind of how we started this whole process because we were cubing every week and then we would argue and yell at each other a lot.
Right.
And we're like, we should just record that. So this is the.
Now it's grown into the hey, Casey's following us on Twitch
now. Oh, thank you, Casey. I'm glad you were able to make it this evening.
Oh, we're now also the next follower will be the illustrious 300th follower, also known, I believe, as the silver follower.
I don't know. To be
I don't know like what the anniversary correspondence is.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure we had petitioned for 300 followers like a few episodes ago, and we hit it. And subsequently, we have been so unexcited.
People have just like, I'm gone. Like
I feel like we were there. So if you would like to be the 300 follower, that would be very nice.
That'd be fine too. Yeah.
I don't think we get anything for it, but we do feel
the number ticks up. It's like leveling up, you know?
Which is what life is about.
Yeah.
Let's start by talking about some cube picks.
Okay.
Now they're going to be a little dated. It's not going to be the current cube, but it'll be whatever's on CubeTutor. CubeTutor.com, a wonderful website for all of your...
The CubeTutor list is the most up-to-date prior to the Fate Reforged change, which has not been actually done yet.
It has not been fully implemented yet.
Yeah. As the cube exists in this moment, if we were to go get it, it matches the CubeTutor list. So that's all well and good. Let us pull up the list so that everybody can see it. This is obviously a little different than what you may be used to because we didn't prep the packs ahead of time, so I didn't work my MS Paint magic.
This is not accurate. I don't even know this is our list.
Is this not our list?
This is not our list.
Damn it.
Damn you, Ben. Your cube.
Yeah, this is not... Okay. Whoop. That's alright. Because thankfully CubeTutor just lets you make a bunch more packs all the time.
Alright. Well, this one shouldn't be super hard, but we'll talk about it anyway because we're here.
So, in this pack, we'll do a couple of these because we don't have the scenarios written up. So, this pack has Strip Mine, Treasure Cruise, Library of Alexandria, Apocryphite, Keldoran Outpost, Wheel of Fortune, Cogwork Librarian, Gideon Jura, Is It Charm, Dance of the Dead, Butcher of the Horde, Thundermaw Hellkite, Ember Swallower, Mother of Runes, Sword of War and Peace. So really this is kind of like are you a strip mine guy or are you a library guy? But I think this is also a good time to discuss how have you been liking Treasure Cruise in Q? I know you were hesitant about them when they got released, and I kind of like pushed you about it.
Yeah, I mean Treasure Cruise.
It was a rare moment where I got my way. I feel so I have to.
Yo, you're welcome to. I think on this show, during the course of the next 2 hours, you will get a fair number of opportunities to do that. Much like how Tarmogoyf was like, well, if magic takes place, this card is fine. Treasure Cruise is very similar. And I think fine is a bit of an understatement. Obviously, we all get it. This card is good. So that quick pit stop, yes, we all
okay.
No new information has been divulged here.
Well,
however,
it was more because you had been hesitant about it. So now that it's been a little while, you recant your previous.
I don't think I have to eat crow on it. I don't think I was like
no.
I wasn't crapping on it before. I believe in our concept review we were like if there was going to be a comment that we were going to add, like if there was this would be the blue card, but it didn't happen. We've gone back and corrected those mistakes.
We do make mistakes. We are human. So back to this pack. The pick, I believe, unless I am, going to get really proven wrong here, is are you a strip mine guy or are you a library guy? And I think that's really just kind of like, I think I could take either.
It's a bit of a preference. Now, if you're worried about playing aggressive decks more often, where you're very, very rarely going to have 7 cards in hand, one of the big debates that usually happens is, hey, I'm going to draft mono red. Is Library of Alexandria a card I'm going to draft, and is it going to be any good? And I think you can't go wrong with it because unlike cards like Maze of Ith or Bazaar of Baghdad, it always adds mana. You're not really missing a land drop for it. You're not losing anything. So the downside on taking it is so minimal. Regardless of what direction you go, you take it.
I feel like Library, it's been interesting. Library is one of those cards where it's obviously still very powerful, and there hasn't been a rules change or anything to make it worse or anything like that. But I think the way Cube's pace of play has changed in the last year or so, has kind of dropped it in terms of relative power level, because the games are so much faster. You can't spend the first several turns just playing Drago and like effectively skipping one of your land drops to draw a card every turn and not doing anything because you need to be so much more reactive so quickly that you don't get as much time to take advantage of it. Now, obviously, the games when you do get to do that, it wins the game by itself. But those games are far less common now than they were 2, 3, and even further back.
It's okay. You can date us in this conversation. Yeah. They're definitely, we've been cubing long enough where a library was dominant almost all the time, and we now live in a world where it can dominate a game, but it is not the standard, which is almost better for the card and the environment in general. So maybe it's Magic has caught up to Library of Alexandria a little bit, not in Vintage and constructed formats, but in Cube, I think it's far less of a oh my god, if you play this on turn one, you never lose.
Yeah. That also being said, Strip Mine is still fine. Yeah. Never really been bad.
I don't think there's going to be a whole lot that's going to change the level playing field of Strip Mine. It's actually pretty funny. I listen to Mark Rosewater's podcast, Drive to Work, and I know many people cannot stand the sound of his voice, or they might have a problem for one reason or another, but he has such great insight on the game, and I love how he refers to Stone Rain for so long in Magic. He calls it the price of doing business, where it's just like this card existed. To me, Strip Mine is very similar in that regard in terms of things like Cube. It's just part of the environment, part of the game. You're never going to be able to get rid of it in my mind. So it is what it is.
Yeah. I wouldn't fault anyone for taking Strip Mine over Library, especially pick one, pack one. I talk a lot about drafting in Cube is a lot of times you get in situations where because the cards are so good, there are a number of picks where they're all about equivalent in power level, and it's kind of a preference thing. Do you feel like playing Haggard today? Do you feel like playing Control today? Do you want to try this combo deck?
I'm really hungry. I want long lunch breaks.
Right, yeah. So it's a kind of personal flavor thing. So Strip Mine or Library, I think either one is fine.
A land, a non-killjoy Rampas.
A non-killjoy, yeah, a land that taps for colorless mana. A land that says tap 2 on it. Also,
one more. Let's get another
one.
Hopefully,
we'll do a couple of these.
Mox Pearl. Next.
We're gonna skip the ones that are obvious.
Not obvious.
Not obvious. All right. So this pack contains the following 15: Clever Impersonator, Faith's Fetters, Nissa Worldwaker, Into the Royal, Misty Rainforest, Isamaru, Geist Honored Monk, Flowstone Flood, Carrion Feeder, Control Magic, Numat the Devastator, Factor Fiction, Gilded Lotus, Molten Rain, Dark Ritual. Now I feel like you should just take this pack and gobble it up for like sealed
and play like a rug LD deck.
I was gonna say like red, white, blue, so you play that Numat.
Oh, I'd probably just cast off the Gilded Lotus.
Okay, yeah.
Because I got the blue green for the Nissa.
I like how. By the way, if I may, just as a quick aside, we cut almost all of the land destruction from Cube because it had become this like unhealthy cancer upon the format, and like all was good for a while, but it's slowly creeping its way back in.
I think you'll find that was a temporary. It was just the Cube ran a bit of a fever. It's okay. Everything's back to normal.
Army Ants is making a transfer.
There was an issue there where blue and black's overlap was a lot in the land destruction. Army Ants being the most egregious offender. Flowstone Flood to me is kind of a remnant of those days. I do really like that card. That is a personal pet project for me. But as you will find later in the show, it actually got cut later. So you don't need to worry.
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
So back to the pack at hand.
I think it's Control Magic.
You are Control Magic over Factor Fiction?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right out of the gate, taking a card like Factor Fiction can be tough because I don't know what's going to happen. But
I like taking Fact over Control Magic just because it's single blue versus double blue.
So you're going to find a way to cast it?
Yeah, like if you take Control Magic first, you're taking a pretty, hard stance on what you're doing already. Like I'm going to play the blue control deck. It might be blue-white, it might be blue-black, whatever. But, I'm going to play this double blue sorcery speed control spell. Whereas, Fact, that could be in the Reanimator deck. That could be in a control deck. That could even be in, a more aggressive deck. You splash it for card advantage. It's going to see more play just because it's more flexible.
Don't get me wrong. Fact, still a great Magic card. Control Magic is just, as Cube is so creature-centric these days, It's such a great swing card. You're never going to find it 4 mana in any other incarnation. It is the gold standard in terms of I take your guy and beat you with it.
How has Clever Impersonator been for you so far?
It hasn't had as many.
I haven't seen it yet. Like I've literally I know it exists, but I have yet to see it on any side of the table.
It's funny. It's been probably cast in my presence like 8 times.
Okay.
And 7 of those times it just made a guy. I mean, it's a clone. Those are usually the best permanents these days. When you get to make something else, it's probably pretty good. And there's nothing wrong with that. That card is meeting expectations. It is not on any kind of.
Chat chimes in. No takers on Nissa. My issue with taking Nissa first overall is double green. For kind of similar reasons I talked about Control Magic versus Fact or Fiction. I don't like heavily committing early unless it's a very powerful card, and this is fine but not fantastic.
Yeah.
She also at 5. It's a little weird. You know, in an ideal world, you would draft your mana curve starting at the bottom and going up. You know, rather than start at the top and go down, because when you draft the expensive cards early, you put awkward constraints on how you have to construct the rest of your deck and make potentially suboptimal choices. But starting cheap, you don't necessarily have that problem. So I think this is fine. I don't know if it's a first pick here. I think Fact or Fiction is probably better. I even think a card like Gilded Lotus, might be better.
You can kind of compare Gilded Lotus to Nissa. I feel like depending on what you want out of the Nissa. Like I think if you're looking to take that card first overall, you're playing green beatdown, because if you were going to play any kind of ramp strategy, Gilded Lotus is going to be not only more consistent, but it's going to leave you so much more open.
Yeah.
If it comes down to those 2 cards.
I can't not take Dark Ritual. I have a disease. Yeah, I mean that's certainly the Dark Ritual deck is certainly a thing.
You may want to get that treated. I don't know.
Yeah, probably not good. But
wheeling a Flowstone Flood or a Carrion Feeder for your Dark Ritual may or not work out. Who knows? I love me a Dark Ritual, don't get me wrong. And again, alluding to many things in the future.
Oh, God.
But it is going to be a jam-packed remaining hour and 45 minutes here.
I'm going to be so fucking surly about that.
Oh, man.
Let's do one more since we don't have a scenario.
Sure, yeah, this is fun.
Yeah. Okay, one more pack for everybody. This one has Erratic Portal, Domri Raid, Graven Cairns, Gitu Encampment, Day of Judgment, Marsh Flats, Cloud Goat Ranger, Floodplain, Sphinx's Revelation, Numot the Devastator, Phyrexian Arena, Smokestack, Llanowar Elves, Honor of the Pure, Remand. What do you like here?
This is
I think, the lowest powered pack of the 3.
This one is tough.
Yeah.
Part of me is like, well, you take that Sphinx's Revelation because you can get so much card advantage out of it. And part of me is like, well, you just take the Day of Judgment because there's your good quality 4-mana sweeper. Part of me is like, you take the Cloud Goat Ranger because that's, build an army in a can. And then, like, last but not least, I'm like, oh, that Llanowar Elves is the lone green card, and that's where you want to start on the ramp decks right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that there's a lone black card and a lone green card. So you can make an argument for either. I think this is a situation where I kind of just want to take Marsh Flats, and I'm normally not a fan of the pick one pack one lands.
Okay, you have to talk me into this one.
I'm not really thrilled with any of these cards. And Marsh Flats, I mean, fetch lands are very good. They don't really commit you to anything. You could be white, you could be black, you could be black-white. And if you're black-white, it's really important for you to have the lands. So Marsh Flats is really important in that deck. So
okay,
I'm not saying that I'm committing to black-white, but I'm saying if the cards for black-white come together, who knows, maybe in a weird world that Phyrexian Arena comes back or something crazy. Or
it's totally possible.
Anything else, having the lands already, you're in a lot better shape. Because one of the problems with you got a bunch of black and white cards, that's awesome, but if you don't get any of the lands, the deck sucks.
It's just tough to want to draft black-white and not take Day of Judgment or Cloud Goat Ranger ahead of those cards, because those are both cards you kind of want in a lot of those decks. I think that If you just start on Cloudgo Ranger.
Well, I'm not saying I'm gonna play black white.
Yeah.
I'm saying I might play white. I might play black.
Yeah.
And I might be splashing.
So you're like looking at a pack of this power level. You're just you're going to go.
I want flexibility.
Sure.
The lower the power level of the pack, the more flexible I want the cards I take out of it to be. I don't want to take, for instance, Dummy Raid is a card where it might be one of the more powerful cards in this pack, but it commits you to 2 colors and it commits you to a very specific deck type. And it's a really early thing, really early to make that call. And on top of that, it's not even that great. You know what I mean? It's not like you're getting a ton for making that pick. So I like just being flexible here, taking the Marsh Flats. If you don't end up playing it or it doesn't work out, you're not really out anything anyway because none of these cards are that great. You're not gonna really miss any of them if you don't end up drafting them for most decks.
I'm locking into Day of Judgment here. I'm taking Day of Judgment with an eye on Cloudgo Ranger, Sphinx's Revelation, Floodplain, Marsh Flats, Smokestacks, Rexian Arena, even possibly Erratic Portal. Any of those cards wheeling could potentially end up in the same deck.
You like Smokestack?
I do. Could end up in the same deck as my David.
Is Cloudgut Ranger?
Yeah.
Cloudgut Ranger Smokestack?
Yeah.
Combo.
I like it a lot. So
those were the picks.
There we are. Now, the elephant in the room we'll address last. And we'll move to...
Let's get first to the exciting news that everyone's super stoked about, which is Fate Reforged, also known as the reason we do podcasts anymore is when a set comes out.
See, the interesting thing is we podcasted... Ooh, did we not do like a winter... See, that's the problem.
We did Commander.
Okay.
Right.
I know we did something between between cons and now. We're definitely like 1 or 2 podcasts short because we should have talked about Rotisserie Draft Holidays and the end of year update coming into this year, Sen, Holiday Cube, etc., etc. So because of that, again, we are a bit backlogged on information. But if a set does come out, it does knock on our door and remind us that, what the fuck? Why haven't we been doing this?
As a brief recap, astute listeners or followers may have seen observers, creepers. We did a couple of rotisserie drafts over the holiday season. We posted pictures to the website. You can check those out at ecomon.blogspot.com. Posted to Reddit and Twitter and everything else. It was fun. Laying the whole cube out and drafting in that fashion is fun. It's a lot more fun, I think, than doing the spreadsheet, which is enjoyable, but it lacks the in-person kind of.
We've done a few variations. I think the Stone Worst was the in-person spreadsheet. Were you there for that one?
No, that doesn't sound like.
No, it was brutal. It was the 8 guys sit down, and instead of laying out all the cards in front of them, I simply handed them all spreadsheet copies of the list. I was like, let's draft! And by round 7, everyone was like, I take this card. That card got already taken. Yeah. Wait, what? Who has it? I actually didn't take that card. It was pretty brutal. Yeah. On the plus side, these rotisserie drafts, they went very quickly. I think we were probably 75, 80 minutes to do the total draft.
I was going to say, we were drafted and played all the rounds in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Which is the fastest by a mile.
And I think the number one complaint out of people was that, I would never rotisserie draft my cube. It takes forever. And we weren't even necessarily playing with 8 to 10 seasoned veterans. We were just
we had a couple first timers.
Some guys that play Magic. They once you get the pace going and the rhythm, you almost need kind of like an auctioneer to like keep.
I was doing a little bit of auctioneer barking, to kind of announce the shot clock, as it were, to keep people honest. But I didn't really have to do that much, and it was fine. I think it worked out well. So that was fun. We did change the cube towards the end of the year. Not a specific set change, but just a general update. Cut some stuff. The cube shrunk in size. Its New Year's resolution was to lose a little weight, trim the fat. So it went from what were the numbers the before and after?
We were 680, and we've come down to 630.
Okay, so
and we may be going back to the gym. We may be going down to 600 eventually, but it's what's nice right now is previously we had 90 card sections of all the base colors and 90 lands. Mm-hmm. Now we're at 80 cards of all the base colors and still 90 lands. I kind of like the land concentration where it's at.
Yeah, personally wouldn't mind going up in number, um, especially as the pet projects discussion will come up more and more.
Well,
The larger the cube, obviously, the more room you have for kind of, we'll say, experimentation,
corner cases,
artistic expression,
pet cards, whatever you want to call
Flowstone floods of the world.
those. Again, those are not there anymore.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm saying. I actually I'd pitched the number 672, which is an odd number, but is the exact number you need to do 16 people with 14 card packs. I think if I'm remembering my math correctly, that's the breakout.
it could be interesting. We could finally have like a couple set aside slots for like 5-color cards, because they always kind of like get the shaft when you're like, trying to do.
So like you get to 670, and then you get to play like 2 white blue red cards or whatever. Stick the Sliver Queen and the Sliver Overlay.
To be fair, it's Sliver Queen and probably
Another Sliver.
No,
Another Sliver King or whatever.
no, I was saying like Child of Alara, or like you can go super deep and go for Manticore maybe.
I was gonna say Corona, False God.
That card's so bad.
Yeah. Anyway, that's hasn't happened yet, but just to catch everybody up, that's where we currently are at. So we're at 630 right now. We cut some stuff out. Most of it was just bad cards. I was not sad to see many of them go.
A lot of them were at called shots. If we want to continue to.
Oh, in terms of like what I wanted cut, or like,
yeah, I think you won out. In terms
I thought you were saying like I just took every card Eck wanted to add for the past 12 months and cut all of them.
No, you never want to add cards anyway. So
yeah,
that would be at like 670.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Fate Reforged. We're gonna go alphabetic.
We're gonna go alphabetically.
Yep.
So I'm pulling up the Gatherer page. You can see it on the chat now. Zoomed in a little bit, and I'm just gonna scroll through these. I'm gonna skip anything I skip over is probably just worthless for our discussions.
We'll try to keep it as broad as possible. We exist in a rares or powered cube environment for the most part. I don't want to stop and be like, well, this card might be good in Pauper.
In Tribal.
That's as much as we enjoy those formats. That's not us. We're not going to be the ones to really make those decisions.
And as usual, we will miss a card or two, as is custom in our land.
Man, Murderous Cut, quite the hot button item from
there's always one.
Fall.
Rabble Master was one.
That's different.
There's plenty.
Some of us don't know how to read. I apologize for that. We resolved the problem.
Feel free, chime up in chat if you're live, or tweet us. Drop us a line, whatever. Anything you think we missed that we can then respond to you and get back to you, our thoughts if you actually care. So let's get through it.
The irony is we're looking at 6 cards a week.
Well, yeah, I was going to skip.
No, take that one.
There we go. So, first card to talk about. Alicia, who smiles at death.
Nothing but good things to say about this card.
Yeah, I like 3 power guys. I like First Strike.
I like they cost 3 mana.
I like 1 colored mana symbol. I like that it's a 3-drop in red, which is a historical weak point. Red, for whatever reason, in the cube world, has an embarrassment of riches at 2 and 4. And 3 is a dead zone. It's ball lightning all day.
It's not as bad as you're making it sound. Again, the years,
Rabble Master helped a lot.
Yeah, the years are helping us along, but definitely in the greater history picture that is the history of Cube. I don't know what's wrong with me. 2 and 4 have been huge. 1 has really come along. Reckless Wave, Stormcroak Noble, but
Firebreaker.
3 has always
been bad.
It's been your Gitu Slinger, your Fire
your Kelvin Vandals.
Yeah, it's been a lot of your excellent role players.
Yeah.
Come in, play a few critical minutes, get out.
Yeah, it's definitely not like a baseball lineup where it's like 2, 3, 4 is your power hitters. It's like power hitters at 2 and 4, mediocre contact man at 3.
Whoever you can get. A real spark plug.
So, Alicia, as a 3/2 first strike for 3, is already pretty solid and would probably make the cut. Like at that point, they're close.
I mean, come on, there's a magic card.
I'm sure there's a magic card that
is that.
That is that.
That's not good enough. But
however, the bonus, getting extra guys back, very useful. Obviously, requires kind of a specific, deck alignment. But red-white as an aggressive combination of colors is very common. Revlark is already a good card in that deck. Getting back any number of different things.
I mean, the dream is Karmic Guide or some kind of
Siege Gang Commander.
That's not even that's reality. That's not even a dream.
That's not even a dream. That's a reality. Okay.
Again, this card is not only got a great ability on it, but is positioned in the perfect colors because Boros decks and Rakdos decks are
You're loaded.
usually,
You're loaded with elite vanguards and
and you're struggling for virtual card advantage,
right.
which this card has in spades.
Yeah.
This fires on all cylinders. I feel like in a long enough timeline, we would have designed this Magic card for the format we're
before
trying
the
to play.
heat death of the universe. Yes.
Yes, we
2 toughness is a bit of a Debbie Downer,
I
but the first strike kind of eliminates some of that problems. It still dies to a lot of removal, but that's every card.
if this card was a 3/3, you'd be like, whoa, OMG, why are they making this?
Yeah. So I
think this is a unanimous across the board. You know, two thumbs up, Siskel and
whatever
Ebert
system.
style,
It's
rated
fresh.
Yeah,
whatever.
sure, whatever you want to call it. This is in the
It's
queue.
got a lot of likes,
if it's not
favorites.
if it's not in your queue, I'm surprised.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
you're not playing.
What is it? Is Instagram is just likes, right?
I don't know.
You can't
I'm
like
not on
a Snapchat. I don't know.
Whatever.
So we start strong.
All right.
Alicia, who
That one's
smiles
in.
to death, very happy with.
Okay. What else we got? What else we got? Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
You're moving super slow here.
Sorry. Well, I'm reading.
Oh, you haven't seen all these.
Well,
yet?
I read them, but then I don't remember what they do. So just a quick. I feel like we should at least mention the rares or some of them. Arcfiend of Depravity. Whatever. Doesn't really, you know.
You want to stop and mention it? That's what we get out of it.
Atarka Worldrender costs 7. Not interested.
I think it's funny in regular Seal, people like read it and they're like, wait a second. So it's just a 12-4?
Yeah.
Flying Trample? I was like, yeah, it's a 12. I had it in my Seal deck today. I was like, yeah, that's a 12-4.
12-4. Yeah. Battle Brawler.
He is a few characteristics short of being awesome.
He's close though.
That whole cycle of uncommons is just, it's so close.
I like this one, I think, more than any of the other ones. 2 first strike for 2 is very good. It's liable to get you blown out super hard.
Not super hard.
Pretty hard.
I think it's my third favorite of the 5, and that's saying a lot. I like those cards, but they're not for us.
They're close.
Yeah.
I think. If you're looking for 2 drops, there's worse you could do. Brutal Horde Chief, however, we can talk about this one. Do you like Hellrider? Because I like Hellrider. And now Hellrider is in a new, darker scheme. Pod form.
Yeah, I kind of wish...
Malibu Stacy has a new hat. And its hat allows you to assign blockers.
I feel like we quickly need to determine a new way to refer to this card. Because everyone immediately is like, 4-drop... 3/3 does the drain life thing, and that's not really where Hellrider is at. Hellrider had haste. This guy feels a lot more like an enchantment than he does like a hasty power threat.
Right.
Now we've got that out of the way.
A few problems with it. A, you can't kill planeswalkers with it like you can Hellrider because it's not damage, so you can't ping, which is relevant. Not the it doesn't have haste, obviously. Easier to cast, and the ability is very good. If you ever have 5 mana laying around with the red-white hybrid, your team is effectively all but your smallest guy is unblockable, and you just throw everybody on the bus in front of your 1/1 token or whatever. To say nothing of the fact that you could also just engineer a combat where you kill all their guys. So that's obviously very powerful. It not having haste kind of sucks.
Again, I think this card is a little bit more of an enchantment. Obviously, Bitter Blossom is its best friend. It loves the games where it gets to interact with those kind of token colors. You know, maybe it helps black-white just as a strategy that much more. Again, to me, the life gain portion of it forgives the non-haste portion, but has to remind players that the game will be played a little bit differently. This isn't like jam it on 4, it's attacking for 4. It's play it on 4, hopefully gain a few life as you're attacking before you get to untap and make a whole new plethora of decisions if you have red or white mana in your deck. Real question, would you play it if you couldn't activate the bottom ability?
It depends entirely on the rest of my deck. If I have a ton of tokens, so like...
Green? Was it black-green?
Yeah, I've got Hornet Queens and Bitter Blossom and Awakening Zone.
Well, like in an NBA deck, you're definitely playing.
Yeah.
Like mono black in the Carnophage Diagraph Ghoul deck, it's no question.
I think if I have Bitter Blossom, I'm always playing it. If I don't have Bitter Blossom, I might not, depending on what other 4-drops I have.
So yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it's only blue and green that could pair with this guy where you can activate it. then blue doesn't really play creatures anyway.
I was gonna say I can't envision a blue deck where I'm really stoked on this guy.
Okay, so we're really just talking about like the green tokens, if that's even a thing. And the irony is the green is the color that can like casually make mana of all these other colors.
Right, like you just have a Sylvan Carried in, and you're like halfway there.
So the number of times that you will not be able to activate this guy are really just like mono black aggro decks, and that's it. In reality, and you're going to be playing it anyway, which is just fine.
Yeah,
I think this guy hits exactly where I want him to hit. I'm very excited to play with this card. It also helps that I picked one up the pre-release. So
lies.
Yeah.
Quick aside, that we have now talked about two cards that have the same function of being a monocolored card with the off-color hybrid activation.
Mm-hmm.
Chad is asking, how do we assign this in terms of categorization of Cube? Because up until this point, if you are familiar with our list, hybrid cards, for example, Still Moon Cavalier, is white or black. Kitchen Finks is green or white, and the cards are determined on an individual basis. So, for instance, Kitchen Finks counts as a green card, Still Moon Cavalier counts as a white card, I believe.
Yeah, that is correct. Some of that is a little arbitrary. Some of that actually kind of cheats the numbers a little bit to try to help a color out. We really like to do that with black, because black has been at a disadvantage over the last few years. So, like the Rakdos Cackler is in red.
You get black gets virtual instead of 90 cards. Black gets virtual like 93.
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
a little bit of advantage. Now these guys, we try to assess them purely on their monocolor basis. Brutal Horde Chief's a great example. So there's no Mardu section per se in Cube. Thusly, this guy would be assessed and included purely on his monocolor status. To which Brutal Horde Chief gets the stamp of approval, in my opinion.
Similarly, Alicia goes in red. It does not go in black-white. It does not go in red-black-white. It does not go anywhere else. It goes in red. Everybody has a different system, and as long as you have a system that works for you, it's fine. This is just how we do it. So if you want to follow our method, that is the method.
I mean, I recommend it because I like it, and if I didn't, I would change it to something else. But to each their
own. So moving on from that, do you like Cloud Form?
Holy crap. Channel Harm costs 6 mana.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it cost 3.
No. Oh my, no.
Okay, sorry. Do I like what?
Cloud Form.
No, I don't.
Okay, flying and hexproof. Being able to set it up with the bevy of things that you can put on the top of your deck.
I mean, I actually for a long time thought we were going to escape this set without having to worry about Manifest, and I think we came dangerously close to being able to do that. Never did I look at this card being like, okay, I'm going to Courser or Oracle Moldiah or Sensei's Winding Top, my perfect guy on the top of my deck, and then I'm going to do this. But craft a scenario for me. What do you want to cloud?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. Anything that has...
Probably something with lifelink.
Yeah, anything that has awkward, like, enter the battlefield, like, downside. You know, that you could cheat. So, like, obviously the Vintage Dream is Phyrexian Dreadnought.
Yeah.
You know, we're not doing that.
Is that our dream though? Like, you say like for Cube, like what is realistic with a card like Cloud Form?
I mean, even something like Ninja the Deep Hours.
That's okay.
Or something to that effect. Where
I kind of want to manifest back my counterspell when I attack with my Cloud Form Manifest guy. And then
get him. Yeah,
that sounds way more exciting.
Yeah,
I see where you're at. I mean, the hexproof and the flying, evasion, untargetable.
I mean, it's effectively a 2/2 flying hexproof for 3 that you can randomly upgrade, and Cube allows you a lot of scenarios in which you can control the destiny, so to speak, of this card, and that's not really anything to really shake a stick at. A 2/2 flying hexproof is not at the bottom. I would say it's at the bottom of the acceptable power level for Cube. It's probably too low, but the ability to upside it in a lot of different ways and just kind of the shell game aspect of it does at least lend it a little bit of credibility. I'm not saying it's a slam dunk go in. I think it's something to consider, though.
Had this card been white, it'd be a lot easier to talk about.
Well, there is a white one.
Yeah, it sounds good, though.
Yeah. Double strike, right?
That's what it gives? That's the red one. The white one is lifelink.
And that's it?
It might give some vigilance, maybe. Or who knows? We'll see it eventually.
Collateral damage. Do we need another lightning bolt?
I would probably still run Shard Volley and Reckless Abandon ahead of this card.
Okay. I mean, there's a lot of renewed push to the Goblin Bombardment style strategy these days.
So
and this plays into that.
You need your reassembling skeletons and friends.
The problem is the payoff is Lightning Bolt. Like, you're working for Lightning Bolt, and you're in Cube, so you already have Lightning Bolt if you want it.
And friends. You have Lightning Bolt and friends.
I don't think we really need another one, another Lightning Bolt, so to speak, that badly.
I think the funny thing is that a lot of the decks that can use collateral damage best are the same decks that function off of like 3 lands or fewer with your Bloodsoaked Champions and friends. So they would almost not rather have Shard Volley, but would be fine having Shard Volley. And then there are a bunch of other decks that would rather have Shard Volley anyway.
I agree.
And we're still miles from that card.
Crux of Fate.
This one was definitely on my maybes list, and it was, to me, it was one of the last cards to not eventually make our list.
I mean, I want to live the dream of leaving a Chameleon Colossus and play with this.
Yeah, that curves. That checks.
Yeah. You know, or something similarly wacky like that.
I mean, on the surface, to me, in the cube environment, we all love Damnation. We all want them to print another Damnation. I'd actually prefer a card that wasn't named Damnation, so that we could add to the cube. But
Tarnation.
This is close, but I still think the same thing that everyone else thinks. 5 is too much.
We already play a lot of 5 white Wraths, though. Is there really anything wrong with playing black 5-mana Wrath?
Black's gotta be more efficient, in my opinion. Like, white has all these stall and delay cards anyway. Like, they play the Condemns, the Path to Exiles. Like, they can get the spot guys off the board easier. And black, since
black can get plenty of guys off the board easy. That's kind of its job.
Black's spell portion is kind of split among more things than white.
Is Barter and Blood still in?
No.
Okay.
And I would think we would.
I was going to say, because if that was in, then
again, you kind of hit the conversation on the head here, where it's like, I'd probably play Barter over this. We're still not playing Barter. All right, Crux of Fate. I apologize, but it's not happening.
I think it's one to keep an eye on, though.
Definitely,
it goes in the short list.
I would expect to see it in a lot of cubes. That maybe
I would too.
Aren't as deep,
especially ones that don't go back as far.
Yeah. Modern cubes, the kids like to call them.
Yeah, sure. Dagatar the Adamant, not gonna happen.
That is a 4/4. Best artwork in the set, Destructor Dragon.
You like that card?
Best artwork in the set, in my opinion.
It does look pretty
I'm
cool.
not gonna make the Cranial Archive mistake where it's like I love it so hard that I just
you put it in the queue. Yeah, that was a bit much. Dromoka the Eternal.
Meh.
5/5/5.
Yeah.
Sigarda.
I mean,
if you want it,
I mean,
Sigarda,
everything.
right?
It's like the worst possible color combination to like even talk about
I
trying to
know.
add stuff to cube.
He's efficient. I think if you're thinking about this card and you're not playing Sigarda Host of Herons, you play Sigarda first and then reassess if you want another one.
Okay.
Because that just seems like a strictly better card. What else we got? Scrolling.
It's probably some elevator music playing in the background.
Flame Wake Phoenix.
Ah, yes.
Another red 3-drop.
That I think this is our first definitive split. I think this card is bad.
I think this card is great.
Okay, let it begin. Round 1.
So we've already talked about the need for red 3-drops and how they have. It's been a historically underserved spot in Cube.
Okay, I would say underserved. I wouldn't say like we're desperately clamoring, because I think 2.
I'm not saying that it's black 3-drops. Black 3-drops, we are desperate.
Yes.
Red 3-drops, we're hurting, but it's not the end of the world.
Again, if this card had been black, it would have been some kind of like Ash Wake Phoenix.
Oh yeah, if it was like Zombie Phoenix.
Oh god, that's so good.
Oh my god, it'd be insane.
Meanwhile, back in reality, where red has a plethora of 2-drops that I feel outclass this card a lot already, but go on, continue.
Red also can pretty easily trigger the Ferocious without having to go off color. Hero of Oxid Ridge and Friends.
Sure. You've named a lot of good cards that will help you win a game a lot already that are in play and active.
I mean, it's Cube. All the cards are good. Like, that's not a good argument. Like, oh, you only have good cards. Like, your whole deck is fucking good.
But I'm specifically saying the red 4-drops, when they hit, they are very impactful.
Sure. I'm just saying, this is a source of recurrent damage for red. It has haste. It has flying.
It's surprisingly awkward that it has to attack every turn. Like, in my opinion, this card might have like legitimately been good during testing for
By
whatever.
blocking every turn.
Yeah, because you
That'd
got
be
like
so good.
because you remember Chandra's Phoenix, like it was Planeswalker and instant sorcery spells.
Yeah.
You usually have to alternate turns. Like I will say this card is better than Chandra's Phoenix because you don't have to keep drawing.
You have to play it. I mean, the fact that it comes back for 1 mana and not 3 mana is a huge part of it.
All in the agreement pool. The only can attack. It just feels like a really awkward, not even vortex card. Like
it's a lot. It reminds me a lot of Sulfuric Vortex, in a kind of in a sort of roundabout way. Like it's this hard to deal with.
So every
hard
time
to stop 2 damage.
Every time you have a 4-power guy in play, it's kind of vortex. Maybe if your opponent doesn't have a 3-power flyer or 3 toughness flyer. And then every time you don't have a ferocious guy in play,
I mean, if they have a 3-power flyer and you're doing this every turn, you're still making them make that block every turn.
Yeah.
And you could expend a
maybe
damage somewhere.
You're effectively pacifying their guy. Maybe
Right.
it still seems like a bit too dreamy and a bit not enough reality for this to be anything more than Windrake.
See, I think that this is a perfectly fine card for red, and I think that red would be better served with it in.
Later in the show, when we look at the list, there might be something out there you can convince me of, but I just don't see it with this card. And I think it's better than Chandra's Phoenix.
I think it's better than Chandra's Phoenix too.
All right, and we're talking about limited because there's a lot of people out there like, oh, Chandra's Phoenix is so much better than this card. Blah blah blah. Flaming Phoenix better in limited.
No, I think Flamewick is better than Chandra's Phoenix, and I think that the gap between the two is enough because we don't run Chandra's Phoenix.
We haven't in years.
So, but I think that Flamewick Phoenix is good enough to make the cut, whereas Chandra Phoenix is not. I think that's kind of the line.
I mean, yes, if it was 3 power, that'd be completely different. If 3 power flying haste creature for 3
that came back every turn,
it'd be good. Yes,
it'd be pretty nuts. Friendly Fire.
I got Friendly Fire pretty hard today.
Did you?
Yeah.
What they reveal?
I revealed Treasure Cruise.
Oh,
I
my. There had been a bit of rumbling, and I wonder if you've been privy to this with your love of blue aggro. Frostwalker.
Ooh, I had not been privy to this conversation. I am familiar with the card Dan Dan.
Right. Because the blue you kind of pushed the blue aggro concept, and I haven't.
I you know what? For some reason, actually, I know why I overlooked this. In my mind, Ec 1, we scaled it back.
Yeah.
The Phantasmal Bear is gone.
Yeah.
I still love the Azure Mage. Azure Mage continues to live on strong.
Sure. Azure Mage draws cards.
For a long time, that was the crux of the whole argument. That was look, it's Azure Mage Merfolk Looter. Azure Mage attacks. Azure Mage's Treasure Trove. Azure Mage gets in there for 2 power for 2 mana. We're doing this.
Yeah.
Along with Phantasmal Bear. I have subsequently backed off, and again later in the show you'll understand a lot more why. But Frostwalker. For anyone out there that's still rocking Phantasmal Bear, I think that's your jam right there.
Yeah, you go that guy and Dan Dan and Flying Men.
Dan Dan's so shitty.
Well, yeah, but
but this guy, I guess you could call it an upgrade. You call it what you will. Yeah, I'll keep that. Pick up a foil one of those for a quarter.
Yeah, can't hurt.
You never know. One of these days we may just full conversion.
We might just have another brain aneurysm.
Blue beatdown.
We'll have our new artistic outfit.
Wow, you blew my mind. I completely looked the other way.
I'm amazed. I thought you were going to bring this one up, and I was like scrolling past it, and you didn't say anything.
No, not today.
Okay, what else we got?
But I will talk about Heel Cutter. Goblin Heel Cutter.
Oh yeah, you like. Here's our next split because you like this card, and I know.
I do like it. Ultimately, you talked me off of this card, and it's not super hard because this guy suffers from he needs to be inverted. He needs to have a casting cost as his dash, and a dash as his casting cost, and he'd be like a lot more sense.
My general problem with the dash cards, and this is not necessarily speaking strictly about Heel Cutter, but more of a general how I feel about dash. They feel very awkward because you dash them into play, and they attack. They have haste, and then the next turn you play it, and then you don't attack, and you just sit there, and then the turn after that you get to attack again. So it's this weird stop start. It just feels awkward.
Right. And while all of the right text is inside Goblin Heel Cutter, everything I want it to do is there. It's just mismatched in the wrong way. And you'll see that the converse of that on cards later in the spoiler. But I do want to talk about the fact that I really like it. I really like, get in there for 3, similar to the Viacino guys, make it so your opponents can't block, Goblin Shortcutter style, all things that you want to be doing. But it's since it's a common, it's costed the way it's costed, and it doesn't make it a dark.
Right. I think they could have made this card smaller and cheaper, and it would have been a closer conversation. But
I like it. I mean, again, if this card was a red and 2 to cast and a red and 3 to dash, how sweet would that be?
it'd be okay.
All right.
I mean, it just
It probably still wouldn't make it, but
Yeah.
it would be cool.
I just never want to pay 4 mana for a 3 power guy without haste and red.
That doesn't Flame Tongue Copy.
That is. I barely even want to cast that guy.
The Flame Tongue Copy was coming out of favor these days.
Yeah. Do 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 do.
Oh yeah, Humble Defector, baby.
The new pet card that I'm already face palming over is Humble Defector.
I love Humble Defector.
I know.
This is my favorite card in the set, hands down. I mean,
This is the new Doctor Mystic. It's not symmetrical. You blow them out.
okay, so the difference between Humble Defector and Dr. Mystic is that Humble Defector is 2 power, 2 mana, red color, wants to attack, play creatures all time. Also, red, the color, historically can fall short of dealing 20 damage, can get real close a lot of times. Boom, draw 2 cards, find your last answer.
It is a 2/1 for 2, and that's apparently all it takes for red 2-drops anymore. Like I'm not, and that's not even like a joke or like being cynical. That's really all it takes to like get your foot in the door in the red section, because there's just 80,000 2/1s for 2, and so you just can play with it, like any mix you want. So
look, we're cutting a torch fade for this guy.
Yeah,
you've got nothing to complain about. Like, as much as you think that this card is like awkward and you don't really like it, I think you're still winning in terms of like what it's replacing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's fine because it's just swapping out for another card that's there because it's 2/1 for 2 and has some minor occasional upside.
That card's gonna do stuff, I promise you.
You're gonna be the one who does it.
Yeah, you're
because
right.
no one else will draft it.
It's true.
Jeskai Barricade is a card that I was shocked at how much discussion there was on the Twitterverse, the Twitter machine.
Now, are you talking constructed, limited,
no, cube?
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I remember there was, I think it was Usman.
Yeah, he went pretty deep on this.
And Kenny was getting in the conversation about, the gating trigger being good, and it's kind of like a combat trick, and you can use it.
So, first question. If you like this card in your own cube, is it replacing, like, Wall of Bones?
That was what I believe Usman suggested at some point. And my opinion on it is drawing a card is better than having flash and bouncing a guy.
Wow, you value drawing a card a lot.
So do you. I'm surprised you don't feel the same way.
I'm on the...
You value getting cute more than drawing cards, I suppose.
It's, well, I mean, equal.
Cuteness is...
I think if we still had Wall of Omens in the cube, this would be a card we would be talking about. However, White has really moved away from the let's play casual defense strategy. I mean, they play defense with spells so well already.
Yeah.
They want their creatures to attack and not try to be cute. But I think if you're playing Wall of Omens in your cube, you need to seriously consider this a swap.
At least, it should at least get maybe like a playtest. But like, keep Wall of Omens in, and like make it as a test. Make it a split card.
Sure.
Like, make Wall of Omens say like, okay, you can draft Wall of Omens and that's fine. But anytime you have Wall of Omens, like, think to yourself, what would be better right now? Wall of Omens or Jeskai Barricade?
I would imagine Jeskai Barricade will be better most of the time. Unless you're playing some weird tap-out deck that also wants to cast a 0-4 on turn 2.
I mean, my thing about it is Wall of Omens goes in decks that don't have a lot of guys. So the gating trigger isn't super relevant on this.
Yeah.
And like having Flash, okay, whatever.
It matters.
It does matter.
It doesn't
but
not matter.
You don't get to, like, it doesn't have powers, you can't eat a dude.
Yeah, it's no Plume Veil, but
Right.
it's not meant to be. It's meant to
No,
be
I
like,
get that.
Eat your 3 power guy effectively, save my guy, or rebuy my guy.
I think that if you really want the gating trigger, if you feel like that's, oh my god, like, you can just go so deep on stuff,
Blade
whatever.
Splicer.
Right. If you want that trigger, you're probably better served with White Mane Lion than you are with Jeskai Barricade.
I
Because
do love Neil.
those decks are going to be wanting to attack and play guys, not play over walls.
Maybe your control deck needs that extra little bit. I don't
Or
know.
you return Wall of Omens with Jeskai Barricade drawn on a
We
card.
were all thinking it. You just had to go and say it out loud. Then you tap your Overgrown Battlement and
Just
cast a good card. Like, the biggest Genesis wave you've ever seen.
Jeskai Runemark gets a note for most obvious going to be modified art ever of just being Tony Stark.
Oh, interesting.
This is just the most blatant, I made Iron Man. Like, wait till you'll see a million of those, I guarantee it.
Wow, that's... Alright. But we can see what Lightform does now.
Oh, yeah. Do we want to talk about Kulagan?
I don't want to talk about Kolagan. That's not a card.
Flying and Lightform.
So it does have flying as well.
Okay. So, I think the same kind of things apply. The same conversation that we had.
If it was hexproof and flying in white, it would be considerably better. Lifelink in white, it's okay, baby.
Yeah, I mean they're close. I think these cards are close. I think that if we were not in a power cube, I think it would be like a lot easier.
Right, if it was like all creature combat all the time.
Right, if we're a popper, we said we weren't going to talk a lot about this, but if you're a low power level cube, light form and air form or whatever it's called, cloud form, are
blue form,
white form, redfish, bluefish are pretty good.
Yeah,
I think
I agree. Yeah, solid magic cards.
You like casting a guy from your graveyard that looks like The Rock?
Yes, I do. That was actually my favorite card from this cycle in terms of cube, and that just tells you how much I feel about the cycle.
Okay.
That's my favorite one from this cycle.
The picture does look like Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
It does. It's weird if it's like a flash forward, flash back scenario.
Yeah.
Where he looks like he's like obviously like
he looks like Scorpion King The Rock.
Right, but like younger than that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Before he bulked up that much.
He looks like Star Trek The Rock, but with long hair. When he was rock bottoming 7 of 9. Sorry, we got pretty deep on things.
Wow, look at this section of 6 magic cards. There were like 4 sweet beatdown guys.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, there's only a couple sweet beatdown guys, but the Mardu Scout...
We get to talk about several of these cards without scrolling.
Mardu Scout and Mardu Shadowspear are both really nice, aggressive little guys, but are behind the curve in a power cube environment, so maybe it's about Popper again. Don't ask us. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Mardu Strike Leader, however,
definitely high on my maybes list.
3 casting cost 3 guys in black are diamonds in the rough, I feel.
Woefully underrepresented.
It's one of the hardest to find acceptable cards for of any cost color combination outside of maybe some weird spots in multicolor. It just, for whatever reason, they just never print good ones. And I don't know why, but it has always been a problem. So anytime anything even gets close, it usually gets at least a shot. So this is definitely going to get a shot. The tokens are good. Combos with a lot of other stuff Black is doing. Braids, type stuff. Anytime you can kind of use the tokens as some form of cheating, certainly useful. And also just being good in general. It represents a lot of power.
This guy has the right stuff. As we talked about Heel Cutter a lot, this guy has the style you want. 3 power, 3 mana, making a guy almost all the time. Again, the dash is going to play for you well when you're flooded and late in the games. I was having difficulty finding a good cut for this card, so it did not make the initial change blog list. I would imagine we'll revisit it later on in the show as we really talk about the meat and potatoes. But as we go through the set here, I really like it. Didn't find room for it. Really like it.
I definitely think it's going to be in sooner rather than later, and I think that
it is a conversation worth having, and I'm not poo-pooing this card in any way.
All right. Mardu War Reaper.
Auto include.
Auto include. Now, the interesting discussion with Mardu War Reaper, and we were having a lot of talk about this, is what do you cut for it?
So, we are just about at maximum capacity for Savannah Lions and Friends.
That's what I said.
Right, and
I got vociferously disagreed with.
Yeah, I think you and I were strangely close on this.
And nobody else was.
The internet as a whole was like, no, 2 1s for 1 will live in infamy.
I was like, all right, peace out, Savannah Lions. It's been nice knowing you.
Leaving.
Well, it was
Savannah Lions Black Star Card Noble. Savannah Lions is so cute.
Anyway, you get the idea. Cutting a vanilla 2-1 for 1 for a 2-1 for 1 with abilities seemed like the thing to do.
Yeah.
The reason for that is I don't feel like white is in a spot where white needs more of this effect, but it's not going to say no to better versions of this
No, no,
effect.
no, no. I think MTGO Cube really does a great job at illustrating this point, where the white creature deck only wants a little bit of this, because late in the game when you're like, oh sweet, 2-1, what are you
Yeah.
doing? Oh, storming, primeval titaning.
But yeah, you're like, oh, Inferno Titan, nice Savannah Land.
Yeah,
So you need some of these, but you don't need a million. As long as you can have enough where the deck that wants them can reliably get them, that's fine. Red, it's also a problem, and this is more of a design, a cube design thing. Uh, Red had this problem forever, where Red only did one thing, and it was boring. And it wasn't that it was bad, but it was boring.
right.
So it was an uninteresting design thing. All the cards were bland because it was just burning guys.
So one-dimensional.
Right.
If you tried to color outside those lines, you ended up with something somehow worse than just playing good
Right.
spell.
White is getting to the point where you run that risk of, well, yeah, you could make every white card make tokens or be a 2-1 for one, or an aggressive guy, or Blade of the Sixth Pride, or whatever, but it's boring. You have to be able to support multiple things. You have to be able to stretch, into multiple archetypes, and I think that the count on aggressive white guys is fine right now. And I think that upgrading them, certainly fine. But I don't think we need to expand their territory.
Again, it's weird because I think it's going to be a win-win for you here. We cut a card that I have gone to bat for many times for Mardu War Reaper. I'm never going to say that right.
No.
I want to say
I want to say War Reaper.
I want to say
Reaper.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was ready to swap this out for another 2-1. I feel like there was a stay of execution on Elite Vanguard that was given by the community at large, and I went and cut something else that you'll enjoy later, as you may or may not have already seen. But I think at this point, we're maxed out. The conversation comes up a lot with like Llanowar Elves, where it's like, where's your high-end number? When are you done adding mana elves? And I think the ceiling on that is much more room to grow than there is on more Savannah Lions. I think that at this point, it's like, look, we've got to do something else. We don't want to be blown out by Electrolyze anymore.
Right.
Back. Oh, okay. Point of contention down here at Monastery Mentor.
Yes. Monastery Mentor was another one where
point of contention. I don't think from us. I think we're in agreement here. I'm not sure. I don't really like this card.
I don't either.
Yeah.
You know what I saw? This card, when I saw it, reminded me. I had like vivid, like flashbacks to another Mentor of the Meat.
Interesting.
A card that, on paper, looks awesome and solves problems, but in reality doesn't do anything.
Strangely enough, I think that these guys suffer from similar problems, yet vastly different.
Now,
force spiking yourself all the time, no one wants to do that. We figured that out the hard way. This guy, when I look at this card, everyone's like, oh, it's Young Pyromancer, round 2.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want more of those? This guy is so much better. It makes guys even get better all the time. Yeah. It's coming all over itself. We get it.
Yeah. And I think people, underestimate the difference between 2 and 3 in terms of Young Pyromancer versus this card.
Yes.
And 2, the color that it's located in is a lot worse for this.
I think that has more to do with it than casting cost.
Yes, I agree. I think it's okay. I think that it's not good enough for our cube. That's not going to be universally true, and I'm going to see a lot of it in other cube lists.
I'm not even sure it's okay by itself. I mean, like, you are literally looking at Grail. You're literally looking at Grail.
It's Mentor the Meek all over again, I'm telling you guys.
The best example here is you draft Young Pyromancer, you immediately see Rolling Earthquake, Slagstorm, Anger the Gods. The list goes on, and you're like, nope, those aren't for me. That's not part of the strategy. I want, my Young Pyromancer deck. Red has a decent number of cards that do things other than that. White, its best instants and sorceries are like sweepers.
Yeah, it's just Red God.
Are you gonna one-off Spectral Procession into this? All right.
That's the dream.
You got me.
Yeah.
You got 3 power for 3 mana. You made a Mardu War Striker or whatever.
Yeah. I just don't. And again, I'm willing to be proven wrong on this, but I don't think I'm going to be. And I think that we make claims on cards on this show all the time. I really feel like it's rare where I feel so strongly that we're right and other people are wrong. Like, normally I'm willing to entertain the debate, and I think that everyone is blinded by this card, and I'm amazed that they don't think it's bad. And I think that everyone is just so got they're just so rock hard for young Pyromancer that anything that's close is they want more of it.
I think it's. I mean, this card's suffering on all axes because the set is looking for value. It's a mythic in the set. People assume it's going to be better. People love Jeskai Ascendancy in Standard right now. Feel like Prowess is all the rage.
I wouldn't even put that card in that deck, and I play that deck in Standard. Anyway,
I'm saying, but things I have heard, not
Yes.
necessarily things I am echoing. The best case scenario, again, you want to go to both ends of the spectrum when evaluating the card. It's like a blue-white counter spells deck that you're putting this guy in as your only win condition, and you counter every single thing that comes at it between when you cast it and when the game ends.
Yeah.
That seems almost impossible to accomplish.
I'm sure we'll get plenty of angry tweets about that later. I'm sure no one will complain.
Oh, hey, I will say, a card I completely overlooked because I thought that the siege cycle was terrible.
That was Outpost Siege?
Was Outpost Siege, which I think is clearly
Chandra Pyromaster Zero, the enchantment.
Clearly the best siege for Cube. Strangely enough, I actually played against it 3 times today in sealed deck.
Weird.
Was not expecting that. I would say that probably 33% of the possible activations were missed by my opponents. And then we got to play F&M level Magic, where it's like, all right, hold on. There's that card to put in your hand. All right, put that one over there. It's a land, all right. Regardless, so you got Goblin Bombardment and kind of like Blue Honden or Chandra, whatever, kind of like merged together. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
It might actually,
It's definitely like the Wildfire deck kind of card.
Ooh, I didn't even think
about it. It's definitely like the red aggro deck doesn't really want this. Like paying 4 mana on your own turn for a card that doesn't do anything is like,
to me it's like Baby Kyranos.
To me it's just Chandra Pyromaster to the Pyromastering ending.
But that card gets killed a lot.
Right.
This
one doesn't. Yeah. Right, but you lose the flexibility.
I think if there's probably a card I'm going to be like this might go under the radar for me, and it might be.
I would be fine with this going in.
In 8 weeks, you may be seeing me being like, "Wow, it's just another Kyranos." I mean, in the Wildfire decks, there's nothing more brutal than casting this on 4 and then revealing Wildfire that you can't cast the following turn.
I mean, obviously that sucks, but
Yeah, you take the good with the bad.
Pressure Point gets bonus points for a dude like suplexing a dragon or whatever.
Is that what's going on?
I think that's what's going on. Which is kind of cool.
I'm pretty sure you can just kind of turn any given direction and the card does something different.
I mean, it's either that or he's giving it a sensual massage. Oh. And I like to think of it as him like just giant German suplexing a dragon through the air.
Whatever gets you through the day.
Yeah, that's what gets you through the day. Rally the Ancestors gets bonus points for being the most confusing why did they print this card. I had to read it a couple times to realize, no, it really only is for blocking. I was like, why? Why?
All haste all the time, right? That's what you're looking for? All ETBs? Like, you could do it on your turn, right?
Yeah, you just have to, like, have anger in your yard.
Not return anger.
Not return anger.
Holy shit. So you don't even get to choose.
No.
So if you do it for 4, you get anger back.
Yeah.
So you need to hit Mad Rush Cyclops.
Mad Rush Cyclops.
In your graveyard.
Mad Rush Cyclops.
Okay.
And, and then a bunch of ETBs. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. That card's not a thing. I wanted to point out how weird it is. Reality Shift, however, is a thing. And this is a card where
it's almost disappointing that it's a thing because so much has happening in blue.
Yeah.
I really didn't want to add it, but I like it's very good.
Yeah.
It is very good Magic.
It's definitely a problem solver, and if you can ever like manage to get cute with it and screw with the top card of your opponent's library in
or
a way,
your own,
where okay, they mystical tutor, and you're like, haha, Reality Shift, burn it, do something cool like that. It's just gravy. Corsair Krupex is another example, where you can kind of like time it in such a way that you can stick them with, burn a spell or stick them with a land so they can't transform it.
It's such a surprisingly modal path design. It's so
totally good, totally going in.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of
Blue didn't need it. Blue's getting it anyway.
Yeah,
whatever.
Oh, good card.
Yeah, darn good cards. I think
you got a little ways to go. Oh, there we go.
What?
Shaman of the Great Hunt.
Oh,
you can bring all the text out, but I wasn't sure how long we were going to go before we saw one.
Shaman of the Great Hunt. See, another split. I don't like this guy.
Ultimately, you're going to kind of win out on this one, although I think it does a lot more than you are giving it credit for. It's kind of like 2 enchantments on the same card that happens to be a 4-power haster.
The fact that it's 4-power haster means that it's fine. But like red already has a number of guys that are just like this that have other abilities.
Be okay, yes, maybe.
Like I'd rather have Hero of Oxygen than this every time.
Oof, every time.
Yeah.
Empty board on both sides. You wouldn't rather have this guy?
Nope.
That's just not possible.
The ability to stop blocking is really relevant, and making your other guys good. Yeah.
It's Siren O'Clock in the background for everybody. We apologize for that. We can't unmute that.
No.
Look, I mean,
it's fine. It's fine. It can
I
go
think
in. It can not go in. I can take it or leave it. That's how I feel about
okay, so you're a take it or leave it status.
And whatever.
I really like it because to me it's two enchantments that are already good, and you happen to have a 4-power haste. Because it's two enchantments that are really good, it has a big target on its face, so I don't know how often you're going to get to really do anything with this card.
Yeah, I feel like activating this thing ever is living a tiny dream.
Yeah, like, let's say you get in there and you attack it, and that's good. Then are you going to untap and draw some cards?
Woo!
It's weird because it feels like it's modal, and you're not sure if it's modal, and maybe in board stalls with red, it's the way out.
I feel like the time it gets activated is on the very late game where you top deck it.
Yeah.
And then you have 8 mana.
Yeah.
Like that seems like when you're gonna activate.
It sounds pretty good.
Fine. Whatever. Like this card can go in. I don't care.
So just think about it. Like when you're curving out, great. When you get it really late and you're not curving it out,
like
possibly
I said,
better.
I don't care. Like that's literally just how I feel about this card. It can go in. It can not go in. I don't care.
Interesting.
And that's a weird place to be.
It is.
But it's usually where I feel.
We have so many more fighting words on all these sets.
Shu Yun, they're not gonna make it. Silumgar, the not gonna make it anymore. Here we go. Soulfire Grandmaster, the ultimate live the dream card.
Yeah.
Possibly one of the dreamiest living the dreams of all time.
You've got the dreamy eyes for.
Well, I mean,
Soulfire Grandmaster.
Who doesn't want to time luck every turn?
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't want to go completely bat crap crazy with something ancestraling all the time? I just think this card's obviously going in. It's completely insane.
Wow, you and I are in different worlds because this Boros card is super overcosted and does not look that good to me.
Wow. Turning all your lightning bolts into lightning helixes on a 2/2 lifelinker.
always with the this is always going to happen.
You just said Boros. Name a Boros deck that doesn't want a 2/2 for 2. And name a Boros deck that doesn't have burn spells in it, dude.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this card is, but again, this card is like only red-white. At that point, we might as well break all the rules and just put it in the Boros section.
No,
There's
because
so many drafts.
No, because you can activate it for blue, and it's all the busted actual living the dream cards are blue. Recurring Time Lock with it. Recurring Ancestral with it.
It's just weird because we just came off a conversation where a card where it's like, I think the scenarios where you can activate Shaman are likely. The scenarios where you're activating Grandmaster are so few and far between.
I think you are vastly underrating how often this card is going to activate. Vastly.
Oof. I mean, it's like now you're just goading me into trying it so we can like make a poll.
Good. I hope you.
I think it's so bad.
If I can goad you into putting a very good Magic card in the cube, then I've done part of my job.
I don't want to be mean. It's like I don't like it. It's a fine card. It does something that a Magic card has strangely never done before. At the same time, like, look at my Grizzly Bear. Look at how narrow it is and how hard I have to work to try to make it do something.
You don't have to work that hard at all.
Everyone's in love with this card. I just don't see it.
It's so weird that you don't. That it boggles my mind that you don't think this is an auto include.
If it was blue-green to activate, no. I guess that wouldn't even be better. I don't know.
I don't get it. How do you not, like, what can I say to you that will make you believe in this?
I mean, if I relegated it to the Boros section, that would actually help a lot because
oh my god,
I just picture so many games,
so bizarre,
so many drafts where it just doesn't get drafted and played at all.
This is a conversation I never thought I would have.
I really don't like the card.
It's oh my god,
it's not even. Surprising support from the chat. I was not expecting that. I was expecting everyone and their mom to still have hard-ons with this card coming out for the pre-release.
So Tysger the Golden Fang.
I'm gonna go with Tassigar, but I'm still gonna go
Tassigar, whatever.
The shirtless.
Shirtless dude.
And we were talking about this card in terms of constructed, and I think that this is yet again another card not as good as the Minotaur Shaman from earlier, where you think
I didn't know at first that they can't return lands. They have to give you a non-land. They have to give you a spell. So that's a slight upgrade.
Agreed.
I kind of like this guy. I kind of like. I mean, this guy I definitely don't see him getting activated very often. But I kind of think of him as like sort of a quasi Tarmogoyf of just being kind of this beefy dude for a relative discount.
He could be a 4/5 for one. That could happen a lot.
Yeah,
that could happen sometimes. That's all people really think. I mean, I think the artwork is hilarious, and I have put more in the cube for less. So.
I just have like the Dave Chappelle Prince. It's like you guys want some grapes and pancakes, or whatever. He's got like a little bowl of fruit.
No, I mean, if I'm not playing Shaman, I can't. Moving the mic. I'm sorry. If I'm not playing Shaman, I can't imagine playing this card.
Shaman? Wait.
The 4/2 Minotaur guy that draws cards.
Oh. What? Those are. What? Those are two completely different cards.
All right. Maybe we're just not on the same page here. I apologize.
I think that you could put this in and be fine. I think that it doesn't have to go in by any stretch. Similarly, I don't think, just as a quick aside, I don't think Temporal Trespass is good.
I don't think anyone does, thankfully.
Okay. Alright. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's... I think at the point at which you're thinking about this, you should already be playing Time Warp and whatever the Portal starter one is, and whatever the other 5-mana...
Temporal Manipulation, Capture of Jinzu...
Right.
I mean, we just started with the Temporal Mastery, and I'm really digging the Temporal Mastery.
Yeah. Ugin! Hey, Ugin! I always forget about this guy. He's so down here. Yeah. Come on and slam, and welcome to the cube.
Yeah, I couldn't really find a reason not to include Eugene.
I think Karn is better than this.
Agreed.
But this is still very good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And it's another thing that get the like Grim Monolith, Basalt Monolith,
Fran
Dynamo deck. He gets a new toy, which I like.
Tamer Sabercat is a sweet magic card, but it's not on the same level as the stuff we're talking about.
Right. It's just not powerful enough for Q.
Yeah, like, think about the 4 drops in green in Power and Cube, like, which one play. I mean, I don't want to harp on Eugene for too long, because everyone has talked exhaustively about this card at this point.
It's going in, it's very good.
I do, yeah. I mean, we want to try to reward those, like, brown ramp decks that often can make 1 million mana and then have nothing to do with it.
Right. I'm always a fan of things to do with that.
Blue-white control decks will play this card, green decks will play this card, red/brown wildfire decks will play this card. Like, it's gonna
be good.
It'll be played plenty.
It'll be good play.
I like Vaultbreaker, and again, it's
just way too expensive.
Yeah,
if this guy was like a 2/1 that like cost 2 and dashed for 1, that would be sick.
Yeah. And again, if he had the flip scenario, you can even make him a 3/2. You can just like all these like dash guys. I want them all to cost 3 and dash for 4 and be 3 power attackers.
I mean,
whoa, people are gonna be mad if I'm talking about Wandering Champion.
They are?
Yeah.
Really?
Go. Tell me your assessment.
People care?
Tell me your assessment of that magic card. Use your words. They can't see your hands on the later.
You can't. My incredulous expression is not being transmitted via audio. People think this is good?
It's Blade of the Sixth Pride that does stuff, Heck.
Who plays Blade of the Sixth Pride?
Touche.
What?
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying.
Okay. I mean, I guess if you already are playing all the other 3/1s, or you're playing Blade of the Sixth Pride, yeah, turn Blade of the Sixth Pride into this. But like, that card's terrible. Don't play it.
I like a quarter paladin. I like a quarter paladin better than all of these cards any day of the week.
I mean, yeah, battle cry relevant.
Yeah. You and I agree. People will talk about it.
Okay, I mean I didn't realize people were talking about it. I had not seen that discussion.
There was musings.
Okay,
I'm not part of it.
Word to the first tree.
God, I hate that card.
Figure of Destiny called, and he wonders where this guy's 4th toughness is.
Or where his green mana activating ability is.
Yeah. The problem with Word in the First Tree is not that it's necessarily bad. The problem with Word in the First Tree is its alignment of colors and abilities do not make sense in the current existent version of what the Abzan kind of wedge does in Q.
I mean, like, if this guy was in a green-white beatdown deck, he would be okay. And there are plenty of times where the green-white beatdown decks end up playing like Gavny Township and Mana Elves and end up with an excess of mana. And again, he could do something there, but it is not reliable. It is not consistent. It is strangely pigeonholed with this guy. And yes, he doesn't get to the extremely relevant 4 toughness
And you have to pay 4 mana.
as opposed to 3. Yeah, we can no longer say this card is anywhere related to Figure Destiny. They are not in the same.
Other than the
bloodline.
templating about
Yeah, other than when you go to activate it on Magic Online and a million lines of text come up.
especially with the hybrid mana.
Oh, yeah.
Oh god. Just,
Yeah, Figure Destiny is like you just can't draft it on Moto because it's a pain in the ass.
yeah.
And you always click on the wrong one, and it's like, oh, it's not a Kithkin, so you can't make it into a hero.
Well,
or whatever.
it activates, just nothing happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the worst. When you're like, what happened to my mana? Like, why isn't he a 4/4?
So yeah, if you have an aggressive slant, especially more, you have like a green black beatdown or a green white beatdown is more prevalent. You can give this guy a shot. I don't think he's good enough. I think that
He's way more likely to be green white than he is green black as well.
yeah, that's certainly true. But even
Rock
still,
decks have better things to do with their mana.
yeah, I'm just kind of very I do. So this is probably I'm probably the card I'm going to be proven wrong about. I'm sure is Whisperwood Elemental because I think that card is good and it probably won't be.
Oh,
But I think that card is good.
okay.
So it's the classical. So part of the reason I think that it's going to end up being bad is it's the classical 4/4 for 5 mana in green, of which there have been 10,000 and none of them have been good enough. But you get a 2/2 right away.
Not necessarily.
Well, at end step, if they have instant speed room, we'll show
Sure.
whatever. But they can't untap. You still get a guy,
yeah,
and you get some value if they have a sweeper.
yeah. The second paragraph on this guy feels pretty dreamy.
I feel like it's fine. I mean,
Yeah, I feel like it's fine as well. To me, I keep thinking of this card as like Huntmaster the Fell's bigger brother.
I think of like Color of the Claw's bigger brother.
Oh, well, Collar Claw sucks. Let's talk about a good card.
Okay, let's talk about Huntmaster.
Yeah, like a Huntmaster the Fell's bigger brother. Like you get 4 power.
Or like Master of the Wild Hunt kind of thing.
Sure, that's also not bad.
Like instead of being good against creature decks, it's good against sweeper decks
Okay.
as its bonus.
Regardless,
I would like to play this card in Cube.
Interesting.
I don't know if it would last very long, but I would like to play it. That's how I feel.
You'll probably turn some forests into 2/2s, and that's fine.
I'm fine with that.
You'll probably play a vanilla 4/4 for 5 a lot of the time, and
I mean,
So
it's
until
like what was
face
that?
up non-token creatures you control gain.
What was that? It was like a hill giant. Is like the tree folk in Shadowmoor, where it was like a hill giant, and then it made a 1/1.
Oh, you're thinking Morning Tide.
Oh, is it Morningtide?
Yeah, like brought a buddy wood guy.
Yeah. It's like that. Like it's a 4/4 and it brings a 2/2 along to
Yeah,
the party.
I know. It's fine. We've figured out what it's similar to.
We've described the card.
you
We've named all the rules text on it.
you have named a fine magic card.
I think this card's good, and I want to play it in Cube.
I guess it has like a strange double manifest protection because like you manifest a guy and then they go to kill something and then you like use the sack ability. So when your manifest guy dies, you get a new manifest guy.
Yeah,
It's
fine. I'm
not gonna say I don't have hatred towards manifest and thusly I don't want to play with this card at all. But I can't.
I think it's fine. I think that I would be happy to see this in Cube. I want to try it out.
I don't know. I feel like you're like trying to talk me into eating a garden salad. Like I'm gonna do it and it's gonna be okay, but I'm never like this is gonna be awesome.
Garden salad.
I'm so glad you talked me into this.
I'm not saying whatever. Last but not least, Yasova Dragonclaw.
I am lukewarm to this as well.
So the problem with this is, again, similar to the word in the first tree problem, where there's not really a green beatdown deck. So the fact that it's a 4/2 trample for 3/8 in green kind of is... It's one of those spots where like it would almost be better in any other color. Like if it was red, or if it was white, or if it was black.
Even blue.
Maybe blue.
No, it would be sweet in blue because you have a 4-power guy for 3 in blue, and then you can just do what blue wants to do and steal their shit.
So... And you put in the Frostwalker and the Dan. He's just targeted in there.
My mind is exploding.
I think this card's fine. I think if you have an aggressive green slant. This guy is slam dunk.
I played with this card a lot today, and it was okay.
Yeah. I think that because we don't really have that slant, I'm not super sold on this card.
Yeah, it reminds you of the albino trolls and the Strangaroo Geists and Friends of the World.
Yeah, really I mean, even the troll aesthetic.
Well, that guy's too.
Is he?
Oh yeah. You can't target that guy and he regenerates. And we've removed all the berry from Magic, so like troll is slowly becoming unkillable again. The way God intended. Troll aesthetic is back to the way he was intended.
Anyway, so if you are aggressive green, or you have if you're playing Jungle Lion, you're playing yourself Dragonclaw.
Good answer.
If you're not playing the Jungle Lions of the world, you maybe want to take pause on that.
And I'm pretty close on this card because you turn 1 mana elf of any variety. That guy's turn 2. 5 power.
That's a lot of beats.
Yeah, a lot of beats.
It's
a lot better than.
Especially if you go Noble Hierarch, because now it's 5, and it gives you blue to activate.
Yes, you don't get to stack it quite perfectly. Like you don't get the Exalted trigger because it's beating a combat before it's declared to the attacker.
Yeah, but you don't have to attack.
How greedy are we going to be?
You don't have to attack that guy.
I know.
You can just leave it back.
Oh, I'm more like you can't steal guys. Like Yusova can steal guys with 3 or less, but you'd think with the Exalted trigger you can steal guys with 4 or less. But it doesn't work out that way.
Well, it's power less than power. Yeah.
Casey was having a lot of difficulty with that. He kept targeting his opponent's 4/4.
Right.
So trying to.
This is fine. Whatever. So
that took surprisingly not long.
Yeah.
And we were surprisingly close.
It's a small set, so it's not going to have a ton of stuff. And, a lot of this stuff is limited fodder, manifest and stuff that just isn't really going to make the cut. And
I mean, while manifest is more aggressively costed than morph and potentially more tricky, it's still at a bit of a disadvantage in far of like, we're talking about a potentially eternally powered format where, obviously a 2 sugar 3
is Crow 13th Fled, you're officially the 300th follower of the Magic Box. Congratulations. Your gift package will be in the mail. There's no gift package, don't worry.
God, you were such a terrible liar.
I know. I can't help myself. So, anyway, if you disagree with any of our assessments on the set, feel free to complain on the internet.
That is where people complain.
That is where people complain.
Number 1 complaint department.
We will maybe respond to your complaints on
X
Twitter.
a busy man. There's a lot of wrestling to watch.
I have a lot of that to watch, yeah. Anyway, so now we can talk about the other thing.
Now we're going to get to the...
Full disclosure, I'm not happy about this next topic.
We're going to get to the proposed Fate Reforged changes. It should be Dragons Reforged. Fate Reforged changes after we cover what I feel like is a bit of a byproduct of the too much holiday cubing and the too much getting asked about this all the effing time. So you know what, people, this is for you. We'll go down this road again, and I'll preface this by saying that Eck hadn't really gone over this a lot before.
I literally found out about this when he offhanded mentioned it on Twitter.
Which is weird because I offhanded mentioned it on Twitter like 5 times the last 2 weeks.
I mean, I don't fault.
Don't lie. I understand.
I got subtweeted in there, and let me just say, not pleased.
So, not to steal your thunder, but when we got in the car to get dinner tonight, Eck very graciously pointed out that we are on record many times over about talking about how bad Storm can be in cubes.
There's like a whole goddamn Zapruder film of footage from this show of us shit-talking Storm in MotoCube and how it's the biggest pile of garbage in all of Garbage Town, and all the cards suck, and it's a trap, and it's bad, and it stinks, and it's no good. So what do I open the Google Doc to today? The Coming Storm.
So here we are, back at the crossroads yet again. This is a byproduct of a few things. One, the cube is shrinking. It should be a little bit easier to draft Storm decks reliably. Many people still outright say 630 way too big. You'll never be able to draft Storm. We'll give it a shot. I got nothing here. It's not like I've done a reparable
The interest
damage.
of drafters is what you have lost.
I mean,
here.
I guess we've killed our reputations as upstanding, reasonable cube enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Although there are a ton of people out there that love the Storm idea. Seeing how much people love Storm in the MTGO Holiday Cube, seeing how people try so hard to draft it, and watch so many haphazardly put together decks. I was like, you know what? Let them have their cube. Every time someone sits down at the cube for the first time, they're always like, "Is there Storm?" And you're always like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, I'm so sad now." And it's like, you know what?
Welcome to the real world, jackass. And you slap the shit out of their hands, flip their cake over.
I'm looking forward to trying it. You know, like I feel like we really took the last year and went really deep on Bazaar of Baghdad. I think we found a happy medium with Bazaar of Baghdad, and it does stuff, which is really all I wanted to. It's not overpowering. It's not miserable, and no one's ever going to draft it. If I can get Storm to a similar place, then I feel like I will have accomplished a lot in 2015 in terms of how Cube goes. Because finally, when people sit down, they'll be like, "Hey, is there Storm?" I'll be like, "Yeah, sure, go for it. Whatever you want to do." Do we support spells matter? I'm not entirely sure what that means.
Yeah. So, if I may.
Oh, go ahead. The floor is now yours. I set up my
Okay.
preamble. I'm good.
So, as I've mentioned, this entire bit of the changelog is entirely done by Tristan without me. First of all, you're trading a Dungeon Geist for a Brain Freeze, which breaks a whole lot of rules.
It's okay. We're still within the parameters. I had one slot to move. Everything's fine. This is why we can't have blue aggro anymore. This is why there's no difference.
That's why you can't have nice things. So
we did the math, but go on.
I am on record saying that Storm in Cube is bad, and I still believe that. And the reasons I believe that, for those who have not heard me ranting about this in the past, is that it requires a lot of effort to make work. It's not an interesting mechanic to draft because either you're the Storm player and you want all these spells and none of your packs are interesting because you have to take the Storm cards, or you're not playing Storm and your packs are less interesting because there's 4 blanks in them. You have to cut a ton of cards to have enough critical mass to make it viable, and if you play less than critical mass, it's all wasted because you can never put it together. And even when you do put it together, it's not even good. It doesn't even like, oh, you drafted the hardest deck to put together. Now you are rewarded for that, and you have an awesome deck. It's like, oh, you actually have this janky 40-card pile of weird twiddles, and you maybe go 2-1 if you're lucky.
For some people, that's fun.
Right. Those people are dumb.
I hope they never listen.
I hope they do.
Okay.
If you like Storming Cube and you're listening to this, fuck you.
Whoa.
I don't like Storming Cube is a bad idea and it's bad design.
All right.
And I feel like it's unhealthy for Cube design to put Storm in.
Now I'm really glad that we didn't have this conversation before right now.
I mean,
this is where the meat and potatoes are right here.
Yeah. I'm a little hungover today, so I'm extra surly. It's kind of perfect. So, even with all this, I don't think this is enough changes to make Cube Storm playable in our Cube at 630. If you're looking at the list, or if you're listening to this after the fact, the cards coming in are Mind's Desire, Time Twister, Time Spiral, Turnabout, Repeal, Brain Freeze, Palinkron, Demonic Consultation, Tendrils of Agony, Yawgmoth's Will, Yawgmoth's Bargain, Seething Song, Gamble, Empty the Warrens, Heartbeat of Spring, Mirari's Wake, Chrome Mox, Lotus Bloom, Pentad Prism are basically the Storm cards coming in. Now, the problem is that's not even a full deck worth of cards, right?
It's about 20 cards.
It's about 20. I mean, give or take, it's about 20 cards. You would have to have almost all of them to have a viable Storm deck. And even then, you're probably not going to go off faster than the red deck can kill you. So, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your time in this fashion?
Sounds like we need more Zerg.
I think if you are going to play the Storm deck, if you feel that you have to do this for the artistic expression of making it work where Moto has failed, to prove yourself the more competent cube designer than Wizards.
I think the weird thing
you have to go deeper than this.
Okay. Point taken. We will go deeper. It probably will not make the show tonight, but we will talk about this at length. It sounds like a great thing we should be doing at bar. Okay, so I think the MTGO cube has actually shown the inverse. not only do people love Storm so much that they drafted the unpowered
Right.
pre-legacy cube. You could barely get it to come together, but when it does, I guess it feels great. I did it on stream once; it was very entertaining. Uh, I think there's room to be had here. I think that there's stuff, like the good stuff can be accomplished with what we have here. I understand your concerns. I don't want to throw away 20 or 30 cards on the cube that you think are now complete garbage. At that point, we should just cut them anyway. But we're doing it wrong. I don't want it to come off like this is the baby, everything's there. It still needs to be tweaked, but I don't think there's a whole lot that they could possibly be missing of spells that potentially can do anything at all when not inside of a Storm deck.
And that's the problem with Storm. In order to make it good, you have to devote a lot of the cube to it. It's not like something where there's overlap, so you can just slot a couple cards in like Oath and Sneak Attack, and they get to piggyback off the cards that make Reanimator good. You need, there's 20 right now. I would say you need 30 cards. You need more than one deck's worth of dedicated Storm cards to make Storm good in a 630. You probably need more than that. And all of those cards, because they have to be the best possible cards for Storm to just get there on power level in the Storm deck, are horrid everywhere else. I'm saying you need Manamorphose, you need Cabal Ritual, you need more, the pyretic rituals of the world.
Oof.
I,
Oof.
but
low blows. I understand.
You need the Ideas Unbound. You need the varying.
That's pretty bold. I think if you Ideas Unbound, you got to go all the way to Desperate Ritual.
I mean,
Desperate Ritual before pyretic, but I understand what you're saying.
So you have to play these cards to make Storm powerful enough to fight the very good other decks in Cube. And then you've now devoted 20%, not 20%, but 10% or whatever, but 8 to 10% of your cube to cards no one is interested in except maybe one guy sometimes. And that's the thing. It's not like Storm's going to get drafted every single time. Unless you have one dude who just only forces Storm ever. And there might be that guy.
There is that guy.
But
we know multiple people like that.
But that doesn't. I'm not saying like that attitude should not be rewarded by putting Storm in Cube.
Okay.
Storm in Moto Cube has always been a trap.
You let me know when the firing squad is done, and we'll come back.
It's done when you delete these changes. So.
I think there's still a happy medium to be had here. I think that is we can find a way. We can make it happen.
I understand. This is your Bazaar of Baghdad, I get that. I get that.
This is the Moby Dick to my.
I asked for like 4 cube slots, and you take 30. So
what did you want? Oh, okay. Anyway, what was the first card? Oh no, Manamorphose. That's reasonable. I could see adding that. To me, it's about cards that could show up in other decks and not be horrible. All of the cards that I have put in here that I have listed, I could see being cast in decks that are not devoted outright Storm is the only way to win decks. I think that once we start pushing further, that's when it starts to get awkward. That's when your pay 2 mana, get 3 red mana spells are real loose. Now, a lot of people out there would be like, whoa, what's Seething Song? To me, from 3 to 5 is a big deal. Things happen there. I think there's a lot that could be done.
That feels like such a desperate justification.
I think you'd be surprised. And again, to me, that's one of those things where it's like, I think we need to have some experience in the trenches, see how it works out. I don't think either of us are qualified enough to have crunched all the numbers in the math to be like, Seething Song, yay or nay for all of these reasons. I think you have to play with them, because I think that the stuff I proposed here, any of these cards could be played in a deck that wasn't a dedicated Storm deck and still do something. There are many times that we have cubed where I'm like, man, if I just Brain Freeze for 9 right here, I'd win. In control matchups. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it's the best thing ever. I don't like the idea of having dead slots in the cube either. And if it doesn't work, things will be reversed. We will time twister the shit out of this.
I feel like I brought this mildly upon myself for wanting to put Time Spiral in the cube by itself.
That's a sweet
one. I wanted, if anyone remembers, I was campaigning pretty hard for Time Spiral about an episode or 2 ago, and apparently that has just
devolved,
wedged its way into Tristan's brain to the point where this is now our lives.
I think it's going to be okay. I mean, heck, on a long enough timeline, it will be okay.
Yeah, because in a long enough timeline, these cards will all come out.
Yeah, well, who knows?
Again, if you add 20 more cards, it'd be better. Like if you just blew the whole fucking cube up.
If there,
I'm not kidding. Like if you,
what if I cut 20 cards that were just cards?
no, that's not enough.
Not enough.
You, you. I don't want you to cut cards out of the cube anyway. I think it's already too small. I liked the larger cube. I think it's more interesting.
I like large cubes too.
But
I like
this,
large cubes, and I cannot lie.
this is.
So okay, let's try to compartmentalize a little bit of this. You hate Storm. What is the most narrow stuff here that you think is the worst?
Lion's Desire, Turnabout, Brain Freeze. Pound Crown's just not very good. Demonic Consultation, Tendrils of Agony. Bargain has been kind of in and out for a long time, so whatever. Seething Song, Gamble, Empty the Warrens, Heartbeat, Mirari's Wake is not very good. Steel Hellkite, or not Steel Hellkite, Lotus Bloom, sorry, I'm looking at it. And Pentad Prism are
all of those cards are those are kind of like Storm in your mind. Those are Storm or Bust. They do nothing else,
basically.
And because of that,
or at the very least, they're traps outside of a Storm context. Like Heartbeat, like remember when like Heartbeat was in various cubes? It never works.
There were some YOLO Heartbeats.
YOLO Heartbeat never gamble on a YOLO Heartbeat. You'll always lose. YOLO Heartbeat never good.
They're great stories though.
Well,
there's always a YOLO Heartbeat
because it's always a story where you'd lose like really badly.
There's always a Heartbeat go followed by now I cast Treachery on my turn 4, making 2 mana.
It never works out.
8 more mana.
It never works out. So at a bare minimum, those are cards that I would think have no business being in queue. Now, obviously, some stuff. I don't like Time Twister. We've had that conversation.
You're very much
before.
on record that you don't like that card.
Yeah, Will is whatever. I could take it or leave it. I think that. It hasn't been in cube really before for very long. It was in for a bit, but then it got cut because it didn't really do much. Empty the Warrens again. Like, what deck wants that?
Empty the Warrens is kind of my poster child for it's like red decks of a lot of varieties could actually play it. Making 6 or 8 goblins will win games.
I get that.
Okay, but as long as you get that, then we're good.
I understand the argument there.
I definitely, thinking about this and talking about it now, I kind of want a Zern Orb. I don't think I'm ready to go down the Lotus Petal route. I think that's a bit much. Definitely no.
Like that's what you have to do. That's what I'm saying. You want to try and do this, but you don't want to go whole hog on it. So you're going to make this halfway done abortion, and it's going to fail.
How about a Dragon Storm? That would be pretty exciting. That would be super exciting.
That would be very bold. We'd have to put some more dragons in the cube. We're actually at a fairly low dragon count.
Yeah, so at that point, hey, if we're gonna get a lot more dragons in the coming set, I think what we're really doing here is we're preparing for
that. Yeah.
Get the Spine Rock Knoll down.
Invest in dragons. You heard it here first. MTG #MTG Finance.
Oh, jeez, yeah, straight from the Cube podcast. That's arguing about Storm.
Yeah. So also, there are some other changes. Cards that are currently coming in are Mardu Woe Reaper. Still going to pronounce that wrong. I got there. Reality Shift, Brutal Horde Chief, Alicia Who Smiles Death, Humble Defector, and Ugin. So a pretty small list of cards so far. This may change slightly as we discussed. These cards have not fully changed yet. Well, obviously,
we've still got Shot Clock. If you want to move from Storm to talk about Reforged, we can go right into some live debate action here.
Well, I just wanted to get through because we're talking about changes and we're kind of pushing on time.
Fate Reforged cards are real. They do exist. We got 6 of them right off the bat. I think when we first tried to compile our interest list, my list was like 10 cards. X list was like 8 cards.
Yeah,
these were the ones that I feel like all of these overlapped.
What did I have? I'm going to look up what our original list had in them. Yeah, the maybes list. You had Crux of Fate was in your maybes list, and Heel Cutter, and Shaman of the Great Hunt.
Yeah, I like me a Shaman of the Great Hunt.
Oh yeah, that guy. And then I had Whisperwood Elemental, Flamewake Phoenix, and Soulfire Grandmaster as cards that we didn't agree on. So yeah, either way you slice it, this is kind of a more subdued set, than in the past. It feels like It feels like we've just been like changing 30 cards, bringing in 22 cards.
Cons really went deep because it had a bunch of lands in it, and then Commander was really good because it had.
Chat brings up in a good point, by the way. Cutting per for us while adding Empty the Warrens.
Well, we're here to talk about it. Okay, let's.
I mean, like you talked about
cutting Undercity Informer when we're gonna add Empty the Warrens as well.
So you're trying to talk about how that card's going to be so good in all these other decks, and everyone's going to want it, and you're cutting all the stuff that it works with.
I feel like I'm being defended, which I will accept. Let's go to black. Let's find a guy that we would be interested in cutting for Mardu Warstrike.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I feel like that was like the number one.
Okay. Everybody see this on chat anyway.
Yeah, they can just drop the spreadsheet in the chat. They can pick it up from there.
But that's a idea.
We have done that in the past. For anyone that's interested in some lively debate.
Yeah. Let's see. Bloodguest, what's the champion? Bone Shredder has not been.
Man, you know what shit I got from like Usman for cutting Skin Render? And I think Skin Render is kind of loosey goosey.
I think I played Skin Render before I played Necrotal.
Interesting. I like Necrotal more.
I like Skin Render because it's a zombie and it's 3/3.
I like how it has first strike and how if the board's empty, I can cast it.
Yeah, I mean, the board being empty is relevant.
There's nothing worse than being like Skin Render, eh?
Go.
Alright, go.
Yeah. I think you could probably cut one of the following cards for Dashy McDasherson. I don't remember his name.
Mardu Warstriker, I believe.
Okay. Bone Shredder.
Okay.
Stinkweed Imp. Possibly Withered Wretch.
That's tough.
Juicy.
That is also tough.
I mean,
do you want to go down that road?
Well, I mean, you never want to go down that road, so I barely bring it up all that out.
I also considered cutting Flesh Carver, which is met with money.
I would also, I would cut Necrotal for Skin Render, but that's kind of neither here nor there right now.
Corpse Dance is awesome. That is
Corpse Dance is incredible.
It's like its own archetype.
Yeah. Corpse Dance is one of those cards where on paper it looks like whatever, and then you play against it, and you're like, oh, that's actually unbeatable.
It's so annoying.
It can't win.
Now, maybe it's time. Vampire Hexmage.
I mean, yeah, like that's another card.
Vampire Hexmage is an awkward sorcery, and
it's another card where it's kind of like Withered Wretch, where like, okay, it's an okay dude, whatever, but like it has like this mild upside of occasionally having a relevant ability, but not often. That could also be a card that gets cut.
Withered Wretch,
I don't really care.
Withered Wretch gets bonus points because it's a zombie.
Yeah, there's very little zombie relevant interaction right now.
Yeah,
Gravecrawler is basically it.
Is there nothing else? There's got to be something else.
No, there's not.
Jesus.
Yeah, we cut a lot of it.
Because there was so little.
Yeah, it is one of the and like Gravecrawler is fine on his own, and then just gets a bonus.
Well, it's one of those things now where it's like we live in a world where we have.
How do you like Mesmeric Fiends? I never liked it much, but I had them in both the Black Aggro and Power Cube and seemed better. It's fine. I like Mes Fiend more than Rain Maggot because it has the old school text. So if you sack it to something, which you could do a lot in black, you can permanently X the card, which is relevant.
Also, not being an enchantment.
Not being an enchantment, so yeah, it's better. So I'm fine with Mes Fiend. I think it's fine. So anyway.
So if we narrow this down to like Stinkweed Imp versus Withered Wretch versus Vampire Hexmage?
Versus Bone Shredder.
Oh, Bone Shredder.
So like Hexmage, Hexmage, Withered Wretch, Bone Shredder, or that other card we just talked about. Stinkweed Imp. I think that you cut any one of those.
I think if you cut Stinkweed Imp, you've got to cut this R.
Wait, what? How is that the one card? That makes no sense to me.
So good.
I
nominate Vampire Hexmage.
That's fine
because it's a sorcery.
Totally fine.
Vampire Hexmage is a sorcery.
Okay.
Let's edit this thing so we can make it official.
Okay.
It goes between.
I'm just putting it at the bottom.
That's not helpful at all.
You
and your caps lock.
Yeah. I've been yelling on the internet a lot lately.
Before this cast.
Yeah, it's just alright.
I mean, to be fair, like Vampire Hexmage has been.
What's his name?
I don't want to say War Striker is the name of the card. It seems wrong.
Whatever.
I mean, if you just literally go there,
I could just go up here. a little bit.
That's so much faster.
Yeah, it is. Basic fast. Strike leader.
Strike leader. There's no war.
Right, because he's striking. Anyway, so that's
Undercity Informer is actually already being cut.
As you can see right here.
Trust me, when I work on this spreadsheet a lot, I'm always like, aha, I found the key. I found the Rosetta Stone to fix this problem. And you're like, oh, I'm already cutting it.
Yeah.
That doesn't do anything. What else were we talking about from... I feel like there was another card that we were both like really interested in, but there wasn't space for...
Whisperwood Elemental?
I mean, you're welcome to nominate something.
Okay. Oh, Soulfire Grandmaster?
Yes. I don't even want to have this conversation right now. Let's try to solve problems we can actually solve during this time.
Man, alright, fine. Flamewake Phoenix. That was the...
Alright, hit me.
Flamewake Phoenix. Okay, what's it gonna be? I want to say Avalanche Riders, but you're not gonna let me cut that. Similarly, I would say Flame Tenkabu, but you're not going to let me cut that. Generator Servant. That card doesn't do anything.
It's not true at all.
Oh, don't give me that. Come on. That's a pet card, and you know it.
No, it's not true. It's not true, Hank. It's not true. For starters, Urza's Rage is still good. Why don't we, let's go back to the...
Don't you change the subject on me. You know Generator Servant's bad.
No. Let's go back to the change log. If you go back to the change log, Perforos is super fun. You should probably just change Generator Servant to Alicia. Or sorry, you know what I mean. Perforos to it.
Generator Servant, get out of my kitchen.
You know what the weird thing is? I swear you were way more all up in that card's nuts than I was.
Yeah, and I was wrong. I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong.
Oh, okay.
Like, that, I mean, that's fine. Alright, so Flamewake Phoenix.
Yeah.
Flamey Wake Phoenix.
Again, good luck.
Spike Shot Elder. That card sucks. Spike Shot Elder, real bad.
I feel like it's had a state of execution several times recently. And I also feel like if we cut it...
I feel like the governor's not going to be saving it for too much longer.
I feel like there's got to be... also, does that mess with our off-the-top games?
What? Well, no. Now. Yes? Maybe?
It's like one of the auto wins you always get.
Yeah, I know.
If
but
it's not there, what do you do?
Yeah, don't worry about it. You just shuffle.
You just get a line.
It's
just gonna be like Rage of Eos wins.
Yeah.
What does it get? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I would cut Spike Shot Elder for Flamewake Phoenix.
For Flamewake Phoenix. Interesting.
That's how I feel about it. You can think about that one.
I'm gonna think about that one. Is there anything else we can hammer out here? It's like
Whisperwood. I want to propose a Whisperwood Elemental,
right,
and I want to propose a Soulfire Grandmaster. Okay. The Deus of Calamity is.
I love that guy.
Just doesn't destroy a land, and
so
that's all you care about.
Good.
It just destroy a land.
Dude, he's a 6/6 trampler for 5. People get blown out by that card all the time. Can't get 2 power first strike hasters for 2. Get out of here.
Agela definitely never getting cut.
I mean, not never. They will print better cards at 2.
The world in which we live, where Ash Zealot's not good enough, is a terrifying one.
Oh my god, he's gonna say Satania, and I would be so mad.
I am gonna say Satania,
and I would be so mad. I love
so
that
much
card.
better.
I love
it's
that
so much better.
You get a 5/3. No, not happening. Again, I'm not against this idea.
That is a pet card if I've ever seen it.
It's gonna be a pet card for at least tomorrow.
That one's real bad. Orin Viper?
Orin Viper has also been a card we've talked about cutting recently.
It's pretty unexciting.
Where there was actually talk of cutting it for Yusova. I've tried Freylease. Have not played with Freylease, although I'm starting to come around to it.
Which one's that?
That's the 5-mana Planeswalker,
Oh.
make a Llanowar Elf,
Ooh.
make a Disenchant,
Ooh.
not do anything on the ultimate.
Ooh.
Make it another variety of Acidic Slime is not bad, which is really what's most appealing for me. Like, Commune is awesome.
Commune is awesome.
Yeah.
The more stuff you have to interact with the graveyard, the better, and we have a fair amount of it. So it plays a lot of roles, and it's good.
Okay, so other than Titania, was there anything else that was?
I would say Titania or Orin Viper.
Right.
And I would lean very heavily to Titania. That's how I feel.
Okay.
I know you're not going to listen to me because you never listen to me.
Well, that's not true at all.
It's pretty true.
I listen to you at least 51% of the time. At least.
This should just be an interview format where I just ask
Oh,
you
come
questions.
on. Come on. You have made a
My
lot of
input.
headway.
This is not a democracy. This is a monarchy.
Oh.
Okay, so cards for what's it stupid? Soulfire Grandmaster.
Indeed.
I don't really like Core Sky Fisher, and I feel like you're gonna yell at me about
No,
that.
I'm not going to yell at you.
Mistral Charger, that card can go jump in a lake. Yeah, it's or Stormfront Pegasus.
Yeah, but whatever. You already said that card.
Yeah. Word Priest of Thune is kind of questionable.
Cut Crib Swap? Are you insane? You're also to put in a creature, you have to cut a creature for starters. Crib Swap is also amazing.
Yeah, Crib Swap is very good.
The Oath decks love it.
Yeah, I would suggest War Priest of Thune, one of the 2 power flyers for 2, or
I think War Priest is your best shot here.
Okay, then I nominate War Priest of Thune to become Soulfire Grandmaster in what I feel is one of the largest upgrades in recent memory.
Is there any way to get Soulfire Grandmaster around Storm?
Sure. You get to buy back your Mind's Desire.
That is reasonable. I have such a great history with War Priest of Thune.
It was your spirit animal for a little while.
It was my badge of retardation.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. White is a lot harder to get into than you think. You know what? I feel like if I'm making the if you're gonna, well, I mean you can't. I mean you're gonna concede Storm to me. I will give you your Grandmaster. Cut my War Priest.
You gonna give me my Whisperwood Elemental too?
I don't know about that guy. I think that guy actually sucks.
Well, unnecessary. I like how the font change didn't make it all the way down here. This is very tiny.
Well, we don't usually cut this many cards at once, so.
Yeah. I think that you should let me.
Well, we'll organize it. Put it back up next to it.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
then insert a row. So okay, now I'd like to go to the artifact section and talk about some artifacts.
Okay, you have about not a lot of time.
I got like 5 minutes before we hit the 2-hour mark, and what I don't remember which part cuts out, but whatever. Let's see here.
Yeah, I feel like we should at least test this.
He doesn't. We'll get back to it. I wanna get a Zuran Orb back in my queue here. How do you feel about Scuttling Doom Engine?
It's very silly. I mean, like, it's very silly.
Like, I really like artifact creatures, and I'm always trying to find new ways to put more in.
Yeah, I don't. I mean,
Is there anything here you don't like?
I could